So this is my story on why I walked away, why how I lost my um hate for white people that I developed and got pretty crazy only recently. How I left and why I left the Democratic side, and I'm completely on the right. Um, a little backstory on myself. I am a Jamaican immigrant. I immigrated to America. I came to America in 2011. I'm American citizen. I was born in Kingston, Jamaica. I came from a family of three. I have an older brother and a younger sister. And my mom and dad, all of us, we grew up in poor, poverty-stricken, the ghetto, as you guys would call them, the slum or the hood of Jamaica for pretty much all my life. Um, I only pretty much came here with no money in my pocket, pretty much. I came here with nothing but the clothes on my back because you know, there wasn't any um, relative of mine that I knew that was in America, and I was the only one of my family that was in America. So it was like living a life, in a jungle, and then somebody just picked you up and just throw you in the ocean until you survive. That's what it felt like to me at the time. But I was down for it. Jamaicans are known to be strong fighters, strong-minded and stuff, as are many immigrants. So compared to what I had back home and the life that I was living, and not to, fight out of, there was nothing that was going to throw at me here that I was going to be able to handle. Seeing all the struggles my parents went through. My dad never had a job. I was born into a Christian home. All, me and my brother and sister. My dad is still a pastor. They've been heavily Christian from before we were born. So before I even knew it, a lot of my morals were closer aligned to the conservative because everybody know that, a lot of the stuff that Christians believe in and stand for is some of the same stuff that the conservative stand for. Not all, but some of it. So, but yeah, I grew up around being around the worst of the worst people, seeing them. I wasn't like friends of them, but I was around it because I lived in the environment, So, a lot of stuff you'll see this, make it seem as if, you'll always be a product of your environment, and just because you came from a impoverished, gun-riddled community, you won't amount to nothing. I started off as nothing, and I'm a big, success story today, and you'll see why. Yeah, so that's the first thing is that's my main background. I spent pretty much up until I was in my mid 20s. All my life was in fighting for survival back home. Job wise, I never got to go to college. I'm a pretty much a self-taught computer technician, IT specialist. I started off just messing around with parts and stuff when I was young. I never went to school to learn how to do it, but it just came naturally. I was building and messing with games, Xbox, stuff like that, PlayStation, from before I even came to America. It just scaled naturally. I didn't have internet, I didn't have YouTube, none of that stuff that you guys have here to learn that stuff. So when you come from, especially when you come from a poor, poverty-stricken third world country like that, they don't have some of those same basic essential that you guys have here. So I literally taught myself the skill that I know today, and I've been very good at it, and I've been doing it for over 15 years. So once I came to America in 2011, um, my mind was locked in. I wasn't going to become part of the statistic. I wasn't going to get held back. I didn't care about none of the jazz that everyone falls to when they get here and get caught up by, get caught up into the system. I was just focused on one thing, and that's taking care of my family and doing them proud. And this dream was only made possible and a success, mainly thanks to my wife of 12 years right now. Well, we've been together for over 12 years. We've been married for going on 11 years. And to let you guys know, not only am I from a third world country and know what it's like to struggle, know all of that stuff. I know discrimination. I know what it's like to be in a interracial marriage. and relationship and have to be like fighting, to stay to win, the other side approval. I never fought for an approval, but my wife had to fight for just for the right to love who she wanted to love. And even though it started off tough in the initial stage and it was hard, they were made believer because she didn't give in. That's why it's important not to quit. If you love somebody, don't let somebody make you believe that you're not supposed to love the person. You have to go with whatever the culture said. My wife is parents is heavily Vietnamese. She's pretty much Vietnamese, but in terms of the culture, like they're really into that culture where it has to be an Asian person, and if not, worst case scenario, they'll accept a white person. But as far as they were willing to go, but no, the tried his best. Our dad tried his best to make her do what he wanted her to do, love who he wanted her to love, but she was very strong-minded, and it didn't work. So it started off, with a lot of heat towards me and not wanting me around. And once I came to America, and and I knew that, hey, man, I have to now go survive and live in the houses with these people that don't even want me there, and I was just mentally tough though. It wasn't gonna bother me. It wasn't gonna, I had a lot of anger towards him for that because that's the first time I felt discrimination for the first time. I never experienced it while I was in Jamaica. It wasn't a thing. We saw it on the TV, but it wasn't a real thing for us in terms of experiencing it where it was because it was all always around people like you. But that's the first time. That's where my first hatred for the other side started from because I was still remembering all the evil stuff, all the bad stuff that they did to my wife, his daughter, her father did to her, and just hearing over the phone all the stuff that she had to put up with. So it was already there, and but I didn't act on it, but it started to build up from there. And then once I got here, and pretty much we're good now. But yeah, it was rough at the start because she didn't give up is why we're good now. So they grew to love me and accepted me as their own. So it started from hate and it turned into love. Once the kids came into the picture because I have two children. I have a son and a daughter, and so our parents live with us now. You know, initially I had to share the home with her parents and her brothers, so it was tough. But eventually it turned out to just, now they're the one living with us, not the brothers, but at least the parents, so they've grown to love, to accept me, um, and they're loving the grandkids. They're loving the half Asian, half black grandkids, and I call them Jamaican because they're Asian and they're Jamaican, so they're Jamaican. So I'm Jamaican first and foremost, but I'm also an American citizen as well. So because as soon as I got here, I wanted to take a hold of the opportunity and make as best use of it as I could. So not only did I not become a part of the statistic and just fall into, the group and all that stuff, I wanted more. I wanted to use everything that I got. So I went to college. Within the first year, I enrolled into college and got a degree to back up the stuff I had. I finished at the top of my class, with honors. I graduated with honors. And, I went to ITT Tech at the time in Memphis. And before I was even finished with college, I was being hounded to get to be employed. I got employed, one of the first main job I got. I did many other jobs in between even while I was in college, with IT work. But the big one that I got was, recruited as a technical analyst, TA1 as it's called, at the AutoZone headquarters in Memphis. And, you're just responsible for offering support to the stores, the local store like AutoZone, so whatever they have, phone issue, whatever the issue is that they have, network related, that's where the call goes to, and that's where I worked for like 2 years. I worked there. I didn't get fired. I didn't get anything. I never get was held back. Neither was I held back in college or anything like that. I just quit 2 years later on because the drive was so much because I was living in Missouri, still live in Missouri, but I had to drive all the way from Missouri to Arkansas into Tennessee. It was a 4 hour round trip every day and it was tough. I couldn't really handle it. So I had to like do something else, and my wife was already established and had her own business going at that time, and one of us would have had to quit to make the other one's dream a success or realize the dream. She would have either had to quit and we all moved from Missouri to Tennessee for me to keep that job, or I would have to quit that job and just sit up shop next to her or with her and just operate like that. And I was a lot more happy to give that up because I was already settling in Missouri. This whole journey back and forth to college, I never get held back. Like I said, I never felt like the system was against me. I graduated with honors, did good, had no problem getting a job. You know, um, I live in a predominantly white state and white city. All my neighbors are white. You know, it's not even close to one side. So if anybody's going to experience discrimination, this is where I would experience it. It would be me. With all the cops that I've gotten interaction with, and it's always regarding to speeding because I'm a notorious a little bit of speeder. It's always been good. Never had one issue, not once, not once, not even close. Um, and the same thing when I was in Jamaica. That's why I say don't let the media fool you into believing that just because you come from a poverty-stricken, you're gonna be a product of your environment. Based on where I came from, then I shouldn't even be success and what I came out of. But it's the opposite. You know, I came, it made me a better person. It made me appreciate the small stuff that most people take for granted. So yeah, it just never happened. I never had any issues with the 10 years at least, even up till now, since I got here up until now. Never had a racial incidents with anyone, neighbors, anything like that, just even the random white people, or cops, never had an issue. But up until the last 2 weeks or over the last 2 years, the heat has been building up. And it only came from just seeing what was going on the news and the stuff that they showed. You can't get onto CNN or watch anything in social media without them just talking about hate, 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 and you're being make it believe you're getting hunted down. You can't even go for a walk without the cops hounding you or somebody trying to racially attack you. That's where I was like getting all my hate from. It's pretty much just by what I was seeing on TV, and that's how they're getting a lot of black people enslaved mentally right now. That's what the left is all about. It's just fueling hate, and just showing you stuff that's only gonna make you get hate and feel sad and angry and upset and feeling like you're getting attacked, even if it's not happening to you. Because I never had any of those experiences. I wasn't held back. The system didn't seem like it was against me or anything. I felt like I had the same chance as my Asian friend or my white friend. Same in school, same out of school. But yet, just by the propaganda that it was pushing and the narrative on the TV, I was building up hate because I was seeing what was happening to my brothers and sisters, and it made me angry, even though it never happened to me. It made me angry. It made me upset. It made me want to lash out. So I started to lash out. I went from just like being cool with everyone to completely hating the fact that even if you're or a conservative, I was all the way left. And I started to see a lot of the trend, and I'm aware of it now. That's why you see a lot of hardly see any support from blacks for the right, or you hardly see a lot of black conservative, and a lot of them that even become conservative, they're slam, and call it Uncle Tom, because I was one of them that called him my Uncle Tom, that called him a sellout, because that's what they wanted to believe, that's what they wanted to think. So you never go to the other side. So they keep our vote, keep our support. It's all a mental game. It's all about keeping them feeling that they're still enslaved, that they're still being held back. Keep only showing them racially more motivated stuff. Let them believe that they can even go for a walk without getting attacked or called, whatever. That's what they made me start to believe, even though I never experienced any of that. I went from just being able to feel comfortable, and I might add this, that I am in one of the most dangerous places to live as a black person, because where I live, there's no KKK that's still around that area, and I've never had any issues. I never felt, but you wouldn't believe that based on what the media and what you see on social media. You would need to believe that, hey, unless you live in a state that's like, pretty close to even between white and black, you're gonna have problem. Don't go live in this community. Don't go live there. I'm not saying that just any and every community across America you can go move to when you're black. Because we know that there's places that, yeah, it's gonna be not like here where I'm at. But that's not what they want you to think though. That's all they just show the hate and the everything that they can find and anything that they can find that's gonna feed into the narrative and get you to be angry and upset. That's all they're gonna throw you. and that's all I was seeing. So even though I never experienced any issues racially attacked, I was getting angry because that's all I was seeing, and that's how they get you. They're not using okay logics like, "Hey, we'll do this for you to help you." No, they're just gonna show you stuff of people getting attacked and say, "Hey, that person was being attacked by a Trump supporter, or that person was a white person and he was racist and he's a supporter of the conservatives, so you can't support them." They're not using any sensible logic to say, "Okay, we'll get you, we'll help you do this." All they do is sympathize. That's all the left was doing, show you negative stuff, paint the president as a demon. They made me believe it was the devil and that every white person was the devil if they didn't stand for the same morals that the left stood for. I'm like, if you don't agree and you're not a liberal and you're not with a Democrat, you're the devil, and I demonize everybody and look like, was looking at everybody like they were against me. And my friend saw what was happening because I made a post on Facebook like lashing out. And I'm usually a private person. I don't put my feelings out, but I felt like I need to so that people know, hey, the next, person, white person that looks at me the wrong way, or even, does something or say something to any of my family, we're gonna have a problem because I'm not that black guy that you see normally, or that, that gonna follow that narrative of, oh, not to react. And for me, like the only justice is my justice, and I see that in a sense where I feel like if I'm being bullied and I'm getting attacked, you deserve what you get back, because I'm not the type that's just going like, okay, I forgive you, and you didn't mean what you. I feel like if you do something that's racially motivated, you deserve whatever it comes your way. Whether it's losing a job, and I was angry for seeing all the stuff that happened to a lot of people of color, and they were made to like feel like they shouldn't react to it. Somebody racially attack you, and they make you feel like, oh, don't react, don't feel bad or anything. Don't be angry. Yeah, you have a right to be angry. I can be angry if I damn want. Nobody's gonna let me feel like, oh, I shouldn't feel like I want vengeance or anything like that. If you get hurt, you have a right to feel the way you want to feel. But that's not what the left want to do, and that's not what they want the narrative to be for black people. They want us to feel like we should be the bigger person all the time, and I'm done with that. That's not me. That's never been me. Especially the type of place where I came from, where it's an eye for an eye type thing. Where if you racially attack someone and and you lose a job for it, revel in it. They deserve it. But here, you see a lot of time where someone that was racially attacked and the person lost a job, and you see the guy be like feeling bad for them and saying, "I'm sorry that they lost a job. I hope for the best for them." No, no, no. You deserve what you're supposed to get, and I'm not gonna be made to feel bad for you and resort. And that's what the left is, try to push a lot, and and the whole thing is to make you feel like you can't go for a walk, or you'll be shot, or you'll be gunned down, or you'll be racially attacked. That's the way I felt. Because initially I would go for a jog or a walk, and I'm in an open carry state, and I'd never felt threatened. I never felt like, oh man, somebody's gonna hit me over the back of the head. Not once. Once I start feeling like that, when in the last recent week, when this all the stuff I've been seeing on the TV, that's when I started feeling like that. And I went from just being comfortable going for a simple walk with my dog to where now I'm not going for a walk, and then even when I do decide, fuck it, I'm going for a walk. I got um my piece in my bag. I have my gun in my bag, and I'm like hoping somebody tries to say something to me. I was like, if you're a Trump supporter, don't even come in my direction. If you're a conservative, don't ever come in my direction. But my friend saw what was happening to me because he saw my post, and if you're a cop supporter, don't even come near me. I was, if it didn't look like me, don't come near me. Keep to yourself. That's the type of place I was in, and he saw, and I guess he figured that, hey, Marlon might need help. And he reached out to me privately, and we talked for like 2 days, 2 days, nonstop. And he was just giving me facts and showing me the whole picture, and opening up my eyes to what was really going on, and to see that I was being played by the left and manipulated to get them in power, and to fuel the race war that they want to start, and let you believe that, yeah, the world's about to end, bro. You can't go for a walk, or else you'll be gunned down and stuff like that. And I was like, I wasn't having a lot of the stuff he was saying. I wasn't having it. We tried to send me a couple of videos, and I'm like, a few of them had Ben Shapiro, or whatever his name is, and Candace Owen, and I'm like, bro, you're sending me these coon and all these white supremacists and shit, people that swole out the race. That's how lock-minded I was at the time, and that's what you'll see in a lot of the black communities where they don't even want to hear anything from the right side. They don't want to hear because that's how they get you mentally locked out is by showing you only the bad. So you don't want to hear anything from the other side. They show only the bad stuff that Trump did. I'm hitting with, he's trying to tell me, that Trump is not what they make him out to see, make him out to be, and conservative is not what they make them out to be. Like it's a bunch of, white supremacists and people that are against black people. He gave me factual proof and showed me that they're just giving you, the media keeps giving you 30 seconds of a 1 hour movie, and they know that's enough to, like, they just have to show you the worst part, and very good at taking it out of context and flipping it, and they get us. That's how they get us. It's at the point in America now where, you just know that, or they make it, it's like apparent, like if you're black you automatically have to be on the left. You have to be on the left, and if you're not, you're a sellout. And that's why I don't see many conservative, black conservative, or if they do, they don't come out and show it because they'll get slammed and demonized and called Uncle Tom. I was accusing a lot of them that he sent me of being an Uncle Tom and stuff like that. But eventually it wore on me because I was seeing the truth. My eyes was being open. I went from hating all cops and hating all white people to where I'm like, man, I was wrong. I was wrong the whole time, but it wasn't a choice. That was just out of the manipulation, the deception, and not giving, the citizens or black Americans the whole story. Because if they give you the whole story, you would completely leave the left. So they have to give you stuff that supports what they're trying to push, which is that, like, the white are against you, you're being oppressed, you're being held back, you can't do anything in school, the system is against you, even though it was otherwise. It was the opposite. I said, hey, initially I was like, you couldn't get me. You couldn't even talk Trump to me because I already believed Trump was the devil and that he's the head of the clan. And it's like, no, man, they're not showing you, they're not showing you the whole thing. They're only giving you some. And they're like, it's obvious, yeah, Trump is not a great human being. I'm not out there saying, oh, yeah, I'm a Trump supporter. You don't see me with the Trump Make America Again hat. But to the level of heat that I had for him, it was unwarranted, and it was only because it made it seem like worse than it was. And I said to him initially, I'm like, Trump doesn't like black people. You hear it a lot, but they get that thing out and get you to believe in it. And I'm like, he hates black people. Never did nothing for black people. And it's like, no, bro, he actually did. I'm like, bro, get out of here. And he's like, I said to him, show me one thing good that Trump has done for the black community ever in his presidency. And not only did he show me one, he gave me seven. The two of the biggest one, the First Step Act, look it up. That benefited minorities more than any other race. What other thing he did? He put a ban on chokehold. Police can't do chokehold anymore on anybody. Period. He just did that recently. There's many things that he did that the media don't talk about, that CNN won't ever talk about. Why? Because if people know the truth, they would completely drop them and go to the other side. So they don't want to. They want to take the attention away from anything good that he has done to all the myths and taking out the context stuff that helps fuel the hate and let it see him as a devil and go for the other side, like the Democrats and the left are just filled with angels. They host some of the worst and narcissistic people that They have racists on both sides. You have the far right that are very, very racist and heavy, heavy, against a lot of stuff that they shouldn't be against. And you have the same thing on the left. But they don't highlight that. All they highlight is all the negative stuff. My friend, who is the conservative that helped me, my Asian friend, he acknowledged stuff that Trump did wrong. The cops that I used to hate, I spoke to a police chief the other day, and we had like one of the most in-depth, best conversation I ever had. It was so hard for people for us to stop talking. I went in there for business to talk to the chief of police, and we end up like on a 2 hour, like non-stop. I felt like I knew the guy. I liked the guy. I respect, and 2 days earlier, you couldn't get me to stand next to a cop, but all because of what my friend did and all the facts that they showed me. He gave me facts. He gave me proof. He gave me the whole story, not a part of it. It changed my whole perspective. I went from being completely blind and completely full of hate for the whites and everyone, and they have you like hating just general white person, for just being white, for stuff that the forefather did. That it didn't make any sense to me. I think about it now, I'm like, how can I have such hate for somebody that they never hurt me directly, Like that, yeah, they have the privilege, there's white privilege, but they didn't ask for it. So it's not, like they were born that way. So why am I hating on them so bad for something that, it's like, me, somebody blaming my father for something that his great 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 granddad did, and it has nothing to do with him, but yet I'm blaming him for it, and I'm demonizing him for it. That's how they're making it out to be right now, where you just have to feel bad, almost like you just have to feel bad for being white, and that's why I was like, man, that was bad for me to even be like that, but I didn't choose to. They made me, they got into my head, and that's what they have done to a lot of, people like myself. They get into their head, and get them to harp on that stuff and to not let go of the past. You have to let go of the past to get to the future. You can't do anything in this country without white people. You can't do it. We need them. Like, I was taken aback even when all the stuff was going on. What really saved me as well was seeing the amount of white people that were coming out in droves, like just in this, against any type of racism that was, in unison with the black community. That was what saved me. Seeing a lot of the people that was acknowledging that yes, we do have white privilege and we have to acknowledge it, but we won't. You can't let it, you know, be the reason to hate them. They didn't ask for it. Like that's not their problem. I still know for a fact that even though I haven't experienced discrimination where I'm at, I know it exists. I know that, hey, if I get pulled over for the same offense that a white person got pulled over for, he has a higher chance of getting out of it with a warning compared to me. Even though that's not, I know for a fact that's an actual thing, but that shouldn't be enough for me to hate that person for it. That's not him. That's just the system. That's, he didn't choose that. So, um yeah, I had that conversation with the chief of police, and he was telling me about how within his department, and this is a heavily white, also conservative cop, as redneck as it probably can get, and we were getting along like we knew each other from forever. We talk Trump, we talk politics, we talk race, we talk everything. I got to understand their side and his side, because this is also a guy that initially used to wear the Confederate flag, but not because of what they try to make it seem. He did it because, or because he said it had something to do with music, but it's not. It was like with the belief and all that stuff. And I would have just seen that, and I'd be like, "Oh, get out of here! You're a racist and all that stuff." And this is just, and I didn't see him as a cop anymore. I saw him as a human. He just seemed like a normal human, and he was sympathizing and understanding to a lot of the stuff. They make it seem as if all police, based on what you saw on the news, like all police are just killers of people and stuff. And it was like, when I heard him just see some of the stuff he was seeing, and just expressing how mad he was whenever he sees cop doing stuff that makes other cop look bad, like his cops in his department, and he was disgusted with it, and that there's not one cop in department that was okay with the George Floyd stuff and all that stuff. Every time it was, they saw something like that on the news, they got mad because they're like, man, those idiots are gonna make it bad for us, and destroy what we're building, trying to build a good community. And I felt bad because I'm like, man, here this guy's out there like putting the life on the line to protect everybody, not just people of not just white people. They're trying to protect everybody. Yeah, he acknowledged that there's bad cop out there, but the way that the media was making it seem is like all of them were like that, all of them. And I can attest to the fact that it's not the case, because I never had issues like that, not one time. And I only have interacted with white cops a lot, for pretty much speeding instances. And they would make you to believe that the system is rigged, and you're more likely to go to jail and all that stuff, and not make it and not be a success. And now I'm a living proof of that's a lie. I have my own business. I got through college with a high GPA. I got to work in some of the biggest company and get to do whatever I wanted to do. Career wise, I was never held back. But not the media wouldn't have you believe that. It would have you believe that, hey, if you're black, that you're just not going to make it. The system is set up to hold you back, and you're still being racially oppressed, and it's no, it's the left that's trying to keep you to believe that thing. But it's not the case for everybody. It's not happening as bad as they make it seem. And I just feel disappointed that we're able to get to me like that and make me believe that, and also a lot of other people that haven't had their eyes open. So this is my story to try to get people to not be a part of the media, not go to what they're seeing. You have the guy running for president on the left side that has came out, and there's video of him saying that if you're not if you don't vote for him, are you even black? That's where it lost me 100%. Even before I saw the stuff that Trump has done, whether it's good or bad, even the cop I was able to acknowledge and admit to issues he had with Trump. So nobody's saying Trump is perfect, but don't just demonize the man for everything and credit him for nothing. Show the people some of the good stuff he's done, like some of the stuff I found out that I didn't know he did, like the First Step Act and the and criminalizing chokehold and all the other stuff that he did. Show people, let them see him with the videos that I seen, where it's like having people that just came out of jail in the White House, like watching him sign off on bills and stuff that's helping the black community. Like, he's been actively trying to help the black community to be able to have better jobs, to get job, to just have money in their pocket. Yeah, he's not the best at sympathizer. He's not a sympathizer. He's not the best with words. But what he tries to do is help the economy and help people, have money, have food in their home and stuff like that. But they don't want to see that. All the seven things that my friend showed me that he has done, I've never heard one good thing. I never seen any of those on the internet. I sent that same link to one of my friend in New Jersey, and he never knew as well. And he's like, all I've seen is just Trump being the devil and that he's the leader of the clan. And in some of those videos I saw, he's embracing and hugging those that just got out of jail, that are thankful that they got out of jail because of what he did. He met with the lady of the mom of the Arbery guy that got killed, and he had her in the White House among with other people that was a victim of stuff like that, and working on actively trying to make laws and stuff or policies that would limit that. That's how he ended up doing the no chokehold because he did that recently. So police can't do that. So this man is trying to help us. Yeah, even the cop did. And my Asian friend admitted that, yeah, he has a lot of fault. He runs his mouth too much. He doesn't know when to shut up. He's not very presidential. That's the one thing I wish he had, if it was just more like Obama in terms of you know the way he articulated himself, but he just wears his heart on his sleeve. He's very vulgar. It's easy to, they know how the media know how to beat him, and people know how to get under his skin. But they use that so that you only see his dark side, or what, he's not very good at, and don't pay attention to the stuff that he's good at, like being a businessman, like knowing how to make deals and knowing how to, get you in a better spot. That's what he's been doing, and that's what he's been trying to do since he became president. But it's crazy to think about, since he became president, I've never seen anything on CNN or MSNBC, none of those stuff that's affiliated with the left, about any of the stuff that I found out that he has done for the black community. Not once. Never heard of it. I would have believed that it was when I watched that video and I saw him hugging the black lady and the dude that got out of jail, and the black dude was saying, like, this is all happening in the White House. And they're saying, like, man, thank you, Mr. President, for what you've done. And he was signing off and stuff and doing stuff. And I'm like, this doesn't fit the narrative of the black hidden president, of the leader of the clan. And I'm like, if he was what he was, and they say he is, you wouldn't be doing any half of the stuff he done, because he won his first term without the support of the black community. So by him doing this, it's not like, oh yeah, he's doing it to get the blacks on his side, right? Because he won regardless of her support or not, right? So he has nothing to gain from it, So that just shows right there that he's not doing it from like oh, you do this for me, so you come, vote for me type of stuff. Unlike what you see a lot of what the left does, they just pander to it. He's not very good at pandering to people's feeling and just like giving a shoulder to cry on. He sympathizes, but he also does work to try to help and limit stuff like that happen. And the left doesn't do that. And that's why I went from the left to the right. I went from like despising all whites, despising all any black conservative, hating them, all that stuff, to just like completely um Like my mind just got cleared. I just saw what I never knew for like the past 10 years. And I'm seeing the whole picture. That's the difference as well that you'll notice with people on the right. They support free thinking. They're not trying to get you to believe just what they're preaching. They give you facts behind everything. And I got to understand why a lot of people vote the way they vote and go with Trump. Because for them, it comes down to like, hey, there will not be the perfect president. There's always going to be one that has some kind of issue. But you have to go with the side that's in line with your moral views and that's doing the most for you. Like not the person that's just talk and sympathizing and trying to harp on the negative stuff like the left does. And the support open-minded free thinkers, and a lot of the stuff that I stand for, they stand for on the right. And there's not just all the way far right, and that's all you see. Like the media try to make that like, if you're a Republican, you're automatically racist. If you're a conservative, you're automatically racist and hate black people. It's not even anything more like that. They fought for a lot of stuff that help black people as well, but they don't want you to know that. They won't acknowledge it because then they're going to lose the black support, and they're worried to lose the black support because if they lose the black support, they won't have a chance of winning. Period. They won't have a chance of winning, so they have to let you believe that to keep you. So this is to let you guys know that hey, you're in a spot like this. Just talk to someone. Just talk to someone that's fair and understand, and not someone that's just gonna be yes man to you and just tell you something that you want to hear. Talk to someone that will give you the truth. You know, that conservative cop, he gave the truth. He said, "Yeah, Trump got problem. He's immature. He's like a big baby. He doesn't know when to shut up." My Asian friend, he said the same thing. So if these were people that just all for Trump, they wouldn't acknowledge any of the bad stuff he did. But why they said they go with him is what does he offer? What has he done? It's not just about what you will do. It's what you're doing. And they're seeing the stuff that he's doing, and that is not just all talk, but he walks the walk. A lot of the stuff he does is trying to put America first, and I guess people that are against it don't want him to put America first. But who is he supposed to put first? So I'm not saying I'm a Trump supporter, but I'm saying after having my eyes open, there's no chance I would ever vote for the left in anything. There's no chance I would ever vote for Biden. In my 12 years or 10 years being here, I've never voted for the left and I've never voted for the right. But I was closer in line with the left because I've just been black because that's what they made it out to be. They made it out to be like the right side is just all racist and you can't be on them if you're black. And then, so that's why I was pretty much on the left and I was feeding into the narrative and letting them deceive me. And I'm done. I'm done being deceived. I'm done being made to feel like a victim and that I can't survive and that I can't live in America because I'm black, because it's not true. It's not true. Not all black people, and that it's not as bad as they try to make it seem. Yes, racism still exists. My Jamaican friend lives in New Jersey, a more mixed pot compared to where I live. And he's experienced more discrimination in a democratic state and in a democratic majority city than I've experienced while living in a heavily Republican city, in a heavily conservative state, around white people all the time. I'm always around white people. Yeah, there's blacks where I live, but it's like 95 to 5%. That's how bad it is. And where he's at, it's a lot more close. Yet he's experienced more systematic racism within his workplace, within the school, and all that stuff. So it's not just as clear cut as they try to make it seem. It's not as bad as they try to make it seem for him. It's not like he's getting, like real bad stuff done to him over there, but it's like subtle stuff that even I'm not getting over here. So don't let the fool you, don't let deceive you. And I'm here a reformed person. And don't let that, they play into the narrative that hey, you just have you can't succeed because you're meant to go to jail and like it's not hard to stay out of jail. Like I said, I spent all my adult life in a crime riddled third world country of Jamaica and never went to jail once, never saw a cop never had to come to me. And then I have another 10 years being in America and being pulled over and interacting with cop a lot and never had an issue. So it's not like they try to make it seem as if oh yeah, it's not hard to stay out of jail, man. It's not hard to get in trouble, right? Just don't put yourself in the position to have, things done against you. That's all, because it can happen to anyone, So I'm just off the bandwagon of like hating on white people and buying into all the narratives that the left try to push and demonize stuff. I'm not saying I'm gonna vote for Trump, but after seeing all the stuff that he's done for the black community compared to what Biden is doing, just throwing out stuff like, oh, if you don't vote for him or even black, that's not gonna cut it, dude. That's not gonna come. You need to rethink your strategy because I'm done. I'm done with the left. I'm done playing. I'm done being trying to me feel a victim, even though I've never been victimized or been done badly by these people that are they're trying to make you feel like you should hate and that they should hate themselves just for being white. Like it's not fair. So I'm fully free. I've never been happier period. I can't remember being happier now than since my whole existence in America. It's crazy, and it's because of just being able to see the whole picture and seeing what the other side does and understand what both sides does and what they're about. And I'm fully on the right, man. I'm fully on the right side now. I'm not going to say I'm conservative because I'm not going to say I'm going to vote because right now I still consider myself a neutral. But after seeing all the stuff that I've seen, I'm definitely not on the same side I was a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago. So, um, just be safe. Don't let anybody let you believe that you can't come up to anything just because you're in America and that the system against you. I'll say it again that it's not. A lot of stuff has been made into the American way of life over the past 50 years that prevents systematic racism. Even stuff in school. There's stuff in school where I don't know what it's called where um blacks are able to, they have a higher chance. I think it's called I don't remember what it's called, but it's like if you're black, you don't need a higher score. You don't need as a high score to get into college or whatever like that. But if you're white. It's almost like you need to have a higher score. I don't remember what it is, but aside. But like for Asian, they have to be like, the requirement for them is a lot higher, and then whites are like right below them, and then for black, it's like you don't need as high of a pass rate or something aside, but it's like it's just an example. A lot of stuff, I went from just hating Ben Shapiro to now I just watch a lot of his video because the dude is smart as hell. I went from hating Candace Owen because it made her seem like the devil and a sellout to where I'm like, yeah, I see a lot of points that she make and she's very smart. And a lot of the stuff I've been just seeing a lot of conservative stuff, a lot of videos. I'm open minded. I'll watch and take from any side, and that's why I like the conservative, a majority of them, because they promote free thinking and you have to be free thinkers. Don't let anybody tell you it's their way or the highway. That's when you know you're on the wrong side. And yeah, I'm done. I left my hate for white people behind. I'm not saying all white people are perfect, but I can't be hating on this person for something somebody else did. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And we can't get anything done in this country without the help of white people. You see all the supports the movements was getting? The reason some of those stuff became as successful as they did is because of the help of support of white people and other races. So we have to remember that we can't do anything without them. We need them. The only way stuff is gonna get done is with us together, not apart. There's nothing that will get done in this country that's predominantly a white country on our own. We need them. So that's how you know that you need to get off the bandwagon and to just like start thinking clearly. Just think clearly. It's hard to see stuff when you're in it, but when you step back and have someone with you and help you see the whole picture, you'll be better off. So that's my message to you guys. I'm living the American dream. I came here as an immigrant with nothing, and he did by a family didn't want me in to where we're the best of, you know, we're very good. They love the grandkids, and I'm like, you can't fight hate with hate. You fight hate with love, and that's the only way we're gonna make it through this time. So, you guys be safe out there, and just seek help wherever you can. Speak to someone else that's not gonna tell you what you want to hear and help you on the negative, and just yeah, I'm done watching CNN. I'm done watching like anything that's just like pro against Trump and stuff like that because the guy has done good stuff. He's not the greatest human being, and that's the reason why people went for him. It's because he wasn't a politician. He was a businessman, and they know that he won't be bought out, and that's why people are trying to make him seem like something that he's not. Is because they can't buy him, and if you can't buy somebody, you're gonna just make them look like the devil, so that people won't buy him. So He has fault, but he's not the devil, you know. And if he was a clan member, you wouldn't see the clan member or the leader of the KKK or the supremacists as to make him seem embracing black people and doing putting laws into place that benefits black people. So yeah, that's the left strategy to let you believe that and only show you the negative stuff to keep you on the mind. Well, you gotta wise up before it's too late. And you guys take care, be safe out there, and it's peace. We gotta bring peace and love and just bring us all together. We're all human. We got to see everyone across from me as human. It does you no good to hate this person for something that the forefathers did before them. And we can't do anything in this country without their support, without their help. So yeah, just remember that and take care of yourself and hopefully we come out of this on top, and put racism in its place and send it back to the underworld. Okay. All right, you guys take care.